Hello, this is PamelaTopjian, and I would like to talk a little bit about relationships. Now, I am not a relationship counselor, any kind of expert in relationships or anything like that, but I am on my third marriage, and I think I have a few things to say that might be helpful to some people because we hear so much about, you know, why do I keep picking the wrong person? Or I don't believe in marriage, or I don't believe in love. I don't believe there's any good, whether it's men or women, I don't believe there's any good people out there anymore. Those kinds of things. And people end up settling or finding themselves in the same type of relationship over and over and over. And so they lose faith that there's any good relationships out there, or even maybe any good relationships out there for them, even. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Um, so, like I said, I'm on my third marriage, and I would not have been able to be in a healthy relationship. And I've said this before, but I would not be able to be in a healthy relationship this time around if it wasn't for therapy. But I'll get into that a little bit more later. I want to talk about red flags because that's one of the things that we always hear about. It's one of the things people talk about when they talk about relationships and, not settling or, not getting in the same kinds of relationships. They talk about different red flags to look out for. And one thing that I think is really important is to look for the red flags in yourself, not necessarily what are they, you know, the behavior of another person, but how do you behave and how do you feel when you're around them? That's huge. So pay attention. If you feel like you are on pins and needles, if you feel like you can't speak your mind, if you feel like you have to really filter what you say because it might come back to bite you later, or it might get turned around or be accused of something, or whatever it is, if you feel like you can't just be yourself and speak up about whatever you want to talk about around them or to them, then that's a huge red flag. Or if you feel like, you have to be careful not only what you say, but, how you respond to them, or even what you're doing, what you're interested in and what you're doing. If you're filtering those things from the potential partner or the person you're in a relationship with, I would look strongly at that. So, what I had mentioned about, being in having therapy and being able to get to be able to be in a good, healthy relationship. So, one thing that the therapist said that was really important is, um, different ways that understanding, first of all, understanding how I got into those first two toxic marriages, what was going on in my life, and how did I come to those kinds of, how did I come to be the person that I was who was accepting of those relationships? So understanding that is a huge superpower. Just being able to understand what happened and how you got there. Um, whether it's, for me, not having a father in my life, not having any kind of, guidance or supervision, and just not, not knowing myself, not having an example of good relationships, not feeling like I mattered as much, as other people. So, understanding where it came from and how you attracted people that were, whatever they are, how you attracted these people, and how you got to the point that you let these toxic people into your life, or how you fell for whatever they were putting out there, pretending that they weren't toxic people, or whatever happened. So, understanding what happened, what got you there is huge. It's a huge way for you to recognize if it's happening again, or if you see that same kind of behavior in yourself, or, those almost triggers or almost things that come up for you that usually come up for you in relationships. If you've clicked on this video, then there's a reason, then you're concerned about relationships and want to learn more about it. Um, so another thing that the therapist said was, think about what you've learned since then. What made you leave, and what did you learn from it? So, meaning like, what would you do differently? Whether, in the very beginning or later on, what would you do differently now? And how could you have changed the situation, or how could you have changed even who you were in a relationship with, or even, we all have like certain events or situations or things that have happened, in relationships that were not so good and maybe even, traumatic. So think to what would I do differently in that situation now? And that gives you some power to know that, I didn't come away from that just, scarred. I came away from that with a lesson that's going to serve me in the future. So think about that also. And so, some people say never again, or I don't believe in love and stuff like that. But, you know, if you just, assign, you just kind of sort of feel like, well, good relationship doesn't exist, love doesn't exist. There's nobody out there for me, or, I can't, my picker is broken, people say. So I'm just hoping that some of this will help to get you thinking differently. And, we are social beings and we do need love and affection and in our lives as humans. And so I do believe that, we are all deserving of love and a good relationship, So let me see what else. So somebody said, like I've been, like I said, I'm on my third marriage, and this relationship and my husband now is completely different than my other husbands and my other relationships. It's very equal, very loving, very respectful, and it's just so mutually, just a good all around. There one thing, talking about those red flags in you. So with my other husbands, if they would be away from home, there's always like things, oh, I could now do this because he's away, and it's not cheating or anything crazy like that, but just, you can relax, you can breathe, you can do something that you want to do that maybe you're not comfortable doing when they're there. Um, with this with this husband my current husband, um, I feel like I can remember like one of the first times that he was going to be gone for a while, and I thought, oh, I'm going to have the house to myself. There's nothing that I can do differently that I can't do when he's here, other than maybe mopping the floor, or like shredding papers because it's so dang loud, just common courtesy things, that's the kinds of things that I thought of. So, that was really kind of telling to me that, I don't feel like there's anything that I can't do, you know, when he's around. So to me, that's huge. But, you know, don't ever be ashamed of, oh, I've already been divorced. I'm going to divorce again. I'll be kind of ashamed to say I'm divorced multiple times or married multiple times, or, you know, because that just shows that you're learning, you're growing, you're respecting yourself, you're not settling, you're not standing up for, you are standing up for yourself. You're not, accepting anything, that you shouldn't be accepting from another, from a toxic relationship. So be proud of that. And so there was one more thing I was thinking about that. Oh, so settling. So another thing people do is they just like, oh, I'll just, I'm just gonna date, just for fun and not really consider a relationship, and just, kind of go be out there just having fun until I meet somebody that's really worthy of a relationship, or that I feel really comfortable with, or that I feel those, that chemistry with, or whatever. When you do that, you are putting out the vibe that you are in a relationship, that you are taken, that you are not open to another relationship. And even though if you're not posting anything on social media, or you're not, you're not doing anything that you're putting out there, that you're, dating somebody or whatever, um, it's still like an aura kind of a thing. It's an energy about you that you are, not, open to a new relationship, that you are kind of, I don't really like the term taken, but, that you are in a relationship, that you're seeing somebody, that you're not alone, that you're not looking. So I think that it's important to show the universe, I am open and I am ready, but also do that internal work so that you can work on what has gotten you to the place that you had accepted the other toxic relationships that you had had in the past. That's the most important thing I can say on relationships. So I wish you luck and I wish you love, and you all deserve it. So I hope this has helped. And if you get anything out of this and you liked this at all, please, please, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps the channel. So I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate you clicking on this. And if you're still here, I appreciate you watching and listening to it all. So thanks.